Hey guys, it's DragonCannon and welcome back to episode 3 of DragonCannon's space program. As you can see here, this is the Excalibur spacecraft, and one of our new features in Kerbal Space Program version 20 is the ability to plant flags. So our space program has a custom flag. It is the logo from my old military battalion in my military service, and which was the Dragon Battalion, I was in the artillery. That's where my name DragonCannon comes from. So we are launching the Excalibur spacecraft, and we are not only taking advantage of the new flag feature, we are also using a few new parts on this spacecraft. The command pod is the new part from Clara's KSPX pack that has now been made stock, the one-man lander can. Beautiful cockpit. We'll take a look at that right now. Got some sticky notes and everything. Everyone can read those on their own time. We're going to go ahead and start the launch as we discuss this. In addition, I am using, also from her pack, which has been added, the Atlas engine, now called the Skipper. I have 2 of them on these boosters, and I also have one powering this upper stage. Now, oh shit, I forgot to put SAS on this rocket. So we are going to have to use the kill rotation function. You know what, we're going to use the surface function in MechJeb. That's the best way to do it. That was a mistake, but oh, it's trying to rotate us now. The new version of MechJeb does rotation as well, and sometimes that's a problem, but what are you going to do? We'll get there. Got another 20 seconds or so on these boosters, and we will drop them. I've gone with a 2-stage lander design, like the Apollo, where we will leave the bottom stage next to our flag on the moon. I just thought that would be pretty cool. I even put a probe body on it and some solar panels so that we can switch back to it and so that it would not be deleted. Then we have booster separation. Separation is clean. Time to start our gravity turn. We're just going to go down, staying on the 90, and we're going to go down to 45 degrees. I'm sure most of you watching this play this game, which means you are familiar with how a gravity turn should be done. However, if anyone would like a tutorial at some point in time, I'd be happy to do one. Could be fun. So we're climbing, steadily climbing out of the thickest part of the atmosphere. Still got plenty left in this stage. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the orbital information. I love using that because then I can fly my ascent from this view here and not have to switch to the map. I can watch the rocket, which means I can worry about my staging. So we're going to continue our turn in a moment, going down to about 20 degrees. I'm pretty aggressive with my gravity turns. Particularly on this particular spacecraft I'm going to be, because we have plenty of thrust and we have plenty of delta V. So everything should be dandy. This should have everything we need to get us to the moon and home. So as we do this, we are continuing to accelerate. We're going to continue our gravity turn in a moment, some more. Once we get up to about 40, we'll go down. Now I'm going to aim for about 100-kilometer orbit here. That's just what we're going to do. So we will continue. We're going to go ahead and nose down right at the horizon now. Just burn at the horizon. Our apoapsis is getting up near the edge of the atmosphere. So, let's get this horizontal velocity, because orbit is all about the horizontal velocity. And in the meantime, let's admire some more of this beautiful cockpit. Not much to see out the window, but she really did a good job. Whoa, and not paying attention, I allowed our orbit to get out of control to 160 kilometers. But what are you going to do? Life's not perfect. So we'll go ahead and let MechJeb circularize at that apoapsis there. I guess we could say apo-key, because for the Earth we say apogee, right? I think that's what Scott Manley says, apo-key. So, but I'm just going to stick with apoapsis. A good generic term, can use it for all of the celestial bodies. We're just coasting up, right up, about at the edge of the atmosphere. So, and preparing. Once we get in orbit, we will prepare our translunar injection. I think we will have time on this cut to get that done. Yeah, so the Excalibur will place our first flag in this saved game, and fittingly, we have returned with Jebediah, who will be the first Kerbal to set foot on the surface of the moon. Depending on the performance of the spacecraft, he may do an additional journey to Minmus in the following episode, because part of the goal of our space program, of course, will be to distribute our flag throughout the system. So at this point we are in orbit, nice, pretty circular orbit, and I'm just going to warp us until we see the moon come over the horizon. We're doing this old school, just like we used to do back before they added maneuver nodes. There it is. We're a little late, but that's okay. It will still work. Let him turn himself around prograde, and while he does that, we will go ahead and switch to the map view, because even with MechJeb, this is better to do from the map view. And here we are, we're just about at prograde, so I'm going to start us burning. We should hopefully have plenty of delta V in this stage to get us to the moon and slow us down to capture into a lunar orbit before we ditch it and land using the lander stage. So here we go. Apoapsis is climbing. Everything is looking good. Jeb, you're going to the moon, man. Just watch this. I need to change the patched conics. Mode 0 is much better. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, that actually makes it so you'll see our trajectory here, and then when you get to the moon, it will actually show you around the moon what your trajectory will look like. But that's pretty good, 61 kilometer periapsis. So with that note, I'm going to cut you out and I'll bring you back in when we get to the moon. So we're back. We've entered the sphere of influence of the moon. I have just told MechJeb to go ahead and circularize our orbit here. So he is going to do that. There's the moon. Let's get a good cinematic shot of this, because that's a nice looking shot. And warping down to periapsis. Let's get this in cinematic too, because that's pretty intense. And we're getting down there. And there we are. We are in a lunar orbit, as you can see here. Spoiler alert, I'm going to try to bring us down to land near the Neil Armstrong Memorial. So for those of you who don't want to know where it is, or do not know where it is, you may not want to watch now. It's somewhere around here, I don't remember exactly, so hopefully we will, land pretty close to it, because that would be great to be able to leave our flag and our lander next to the Neil Armstrong lander. So here we go. Again, I've just set up a maneuver and I'm going to let MechJeb fly it. I'm going to be flying the landing manually. I do not trust MechJeb's landing skills. Like I told you in previous episodes, it's mostly for the information that I use it. It is a great tool. It gives me all kinds of stuff that is not available in the stock game, like my orbital period, my inclination, eccentricity, all that fun stuff that is very convenient to know while you're trying to navigate and fly spacecraft around in space. So there we go. We have performed our deorbit burn, and we will do some time warp now. Get us coming in. I'm just going to go ahead and point us retrograde now, and then we will take care of the stage soon. I'm going to kill rotation now, and we're going to just basically turn ourselves at the horizon, because what I want to do is use this stage, while we still have it, to kill as much horizontal velocity as possible. But we're going to warp a little more before we do that. Okay, we'll go ahead and we're going to fire up these engines. As you can see, I'm just staying between retrograde and the horizon, which is, as you can see, making my retrograde rise up to be almost straight up and down, which is what I want, so that I will be landing almost straight up and down. And now we will go ahead and ditch that stage, activate this engine, and lower our landing gear. It's another nice cinematic shot, so we'll go ahead and take that shot. As you can see, we're not really landing that close to the Neil Armstrong Memorial. We cannot see it coming down, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about it. We're gonna try to straighten up this trajectory here a little bit. We're coming down pretty fast, so let's get that. And now I just want to be pointing straight up and down and get ourselves down to a landing velocity while we come in to land. Sorry about that. Got a little bit stuffed up here, but shit happens, right? Here we are. As you can see, we're getting down nice and slow. I like to try to keep it like below 5 meters a second when I touch down, but really with these landing legs you can probably survive up to 10 meters a second, maybe even 12 touching down. But we're not going to do that because that is dangerous, and as we are playing a permadeath series here, we do not want to kill Jeb. If we have to kill someone, I prefer it not to be Jeb. So here we are, we're getting down. There's our shadow. Got just very light engine power. Here we go. And touchdown, a little bounce, but we are good, and we have touchdown on the surface of the moon. Jebediah Kerman will be going on. Oh, that was a mistake. But it's not that big of a deal, because the good news is his ascent stage is still intact. So, while I did not mean to decouple that, it will not be that big of a problem. Here we are, Jebediah. Plant your flag. And here we go. DragonCannon moon landing. Here, Jebediah, Kerman, commander of the Excalibur, first set foot on the surface of the moon. He declared, that's one small step for a Kerbal, one giant leap for Kerbal kind. So we will leave Jeb for the moment here on the moon. Hey guys, when I loaded my saved game, I had a little accident occur and my command module fell over upside down. But I have managed to right it, and we will be bringing Jeb back on board so that he may one day return to Kerbin and be happy with the family, or possibly fly on an SRB with a seat. We probably will not have him actually do that. I am opposed to the use of SRBs in manned space flight, and my standard for Kerbals is just as high. So, here we are, and we're going to put on some kill rotation, and we're just going to launch Jeb up to orbit. Throttle up, stage, we're just going to turn him through, okay, we're going to turn him basically pretty much straight at 90 degrees, and we'll just watch our apoapsis over here. Wait till it gets to about 15 maybe. I think 15 is good. 17 will circularize at the apoapsis. And we will have plenty of fuel to get Jeb home. So, to get Jeb home, we will want to burn on the Kerbin side. Wow. Okay. So, what we can do instead is just keep burning. We are on the Kerbin side. So, we're just going to keep burning until we reach escape velocity. And as you see, our trajectory quickly becomes there we go, and we will now re-enter into Kerbin's atmosphere on our current trajectory. Bye bye moon, says Jeb. For some reason, my keyboard is not responding very well. I just changed the batteries too. I'm trying right now. To hit F2 and bring down. Time warp is working. Why is F2 not working? That's very strange. So apparently we won't be able to do that. Although we don't need that guy. Don't need that guy anymore. Don't need any of these anymore. Alright, let's take Jeb home. Oh my god, that was a mistake. See, it warped us right around through the atmosphere, which it should not have done, but It's okay, we would be lined up for another moon encounter, but we're not going to let that happen this time. I do it in regular time. I know what it is. Aha! Yeah, I did F lock. Okay. So, if we don't warp too fast, should take us right on in. And cut the time warp for us. There we go. After I make this quick adjustment and turn the smartass, we'll turn retrograde first. Now we're going to turn the smartass off. Exit that also. We'll go ahead and do this at 2 times warp. Only thing we're going to have to do is deploy parachutes. We're not going to do that until the re-entry heat stops. Look at that. Look at that. It's burning. Here we go, Jeb. Coming in for a splashdown after your very first moon landing. To a hero's welcome. Jeb, you will always be in our hearts and our souls. Get ready to deploy the parachutes and go on home. There we go. Chutes deployed in drogue mode. Go ahead and do some 2 times warp again, physics warp. Hope that it doesn't get torn apart as he comes in. And here we go. Look, passing 7,500 meters. All things looking good, Jeb. So this will be the end of our moon episode. I was actually going to make this its own episode, but I'm trying not to do these 10-minute episodes, and right now this would end up being like 20 something, which is what I'm going for. You know, the half-hour range, maybe even sometimes longer if I'm doing, you know, interplanetary missions. So there we go, the chutes have deployed. Yes, we know, don't show me again. We will physics warp you up one more level. Coming down at a nice, leisurely 3.9 meters a second. 300 meters, 250 meters, 200 meters, 100 meters. Jeb, there you go. You have walked on the moon and lived to tell the tale, Jebediah. Thanks for watching, guys. This is the DragonCannon space program. Talk to you next time.